Okay, part three of reassembly. Again, just going down the checklist of things I need to reassemble. Um, but today there were actually a couple of things that were interesting to note. So the checklist today I've completed was exhaust springs, transmission skid plate, the Lambda sensor, the fluids, which were engine oil and coolant, shifter oil, which is I just added a little bit of oil to the shifter turret, that's where the gear lever goes. Um, Installed the shifter back, and then I started the car up to test the various functionality of the car. The fluids were probably the least interesting thing of note, but I just filled back everything that I drained and then added a little bit more for the coolant. The oil, I actually had to add an extra half quart on top of the 3 for the engine block and 4 for the sump. I added the extra quart, or added the extra half quart so that the dipstick and the dry sump aligned or were measured correctly. The exhaust springs, if you followed my build the last time I had my friend over, he helped me do it, and the two of us struggled for, I think, probably 2 hours just to get the two exhaust springs on. This time I followed the really great suggestion from Caterham 420rbuild.co.uk. I will link that in the description of the video. Essentially, what he does is still the same. You zip tie the spring fully compressed so that you can pull out the two sides of the spring all the way. But his little trick was you squeeze in the retaining hooks on one side so that you can pull that end halfway through the spring, almost like you're going to pull it out, but you don't. That extra, let's say, quarter inch to half inch gives you enough space to pull both of the hooks over the hooks on the exhaust. Once they're over the hooks on the exhaust, you can push them back a little bit and pull those retaining hooks back out of the spring. Once you do that, you're home free. It's a bit fiddly, so it still took me probably a half hour to do both of them, but it was much, much easier than what we did with my friend, and it only required work from myself. Um, the other thing that was interesting to note today was when I started the car, I mainly wanted to test that the reverse light and the brake lights light up so that I can put the transmission tunnel cover back on. However, when I stepped on the clutch, the engine immediately shut off. No stuttering, just instantly shut off. So I messaged my dealer about it, and he asked if the immobilizer was on the keychain uh, with the key that's in the car. And that made me realize that no, I had taken the fob off because today when I tried to start the car, the fob was not being detected. So I had to take the fob off and wave it closer to the coils for the immobilizer to let me start the car. Then I realized I had changed my keychain since I last started it a couple of weeks ago. And what I did was I added the car key and the immobilizer fob to a magnetic quick release, and the other side of the quick release was my belt clip. I do this with all of my car keys. I like to wear it on my belt, but because this car, I have to put the key physically in the car, I needed some way to take it off of my belt without removing the entire clip from my belt every time. I used a magnet. That magnet affects the RFID functionality of the immobilizer, which is why it didn't detect and let me start the car. Apparently, also, when you try to operate the car, it will also try to read the immobilizer, which is why when I press in the clutch, the car shut off. As soon as I removed the magnet from my keychain setup, everything worked flawlessly. So learned that learned how the immobilizer works, I guess. That was interesting. So that is probably all that I have to do for the car. It's probably ready to go on the road, but there are a few things I want to do to sort of button it up, so to speak. Um, so I need to apply the trim to the dashboard, add the soft bits on the bonnet so that they don't scratch the chassis when it's on. My tachometer is busted, and I've gotten the replacement in the mail, so I also need to replace that. I also got my aero screen in, which I believe also comes with these brackets that let me switch between the aero screen and the windshield more easily. I'll probably install that. I don't know if I'm going to install that before I take the car to get registered. We'll see. The other thing I can do is I can finally rivet up the interior panels once that bracket is installed. Um, I also need to level out the suspension so that the ride height is appropriate and even. Eventually, I'll do a suspension alignment. And then my driver's side headlight DRL stopped working all of a sudden, so I probably need to pull that out and recrimp it and make sure it works. And then finally, just put the car on the ground and torque up the wheels. So next session will probably be some of this, and then hopefully I'll get to take the car out for a test run. All right, thank you.